Hey guys, how y'all doing? Well, I am so glad you're here this week because I want to share with some of you what I didn't know about Christian Dior and hats. Some of you may have already known, and if you already knew, please put it in the comments. If you didn't, also put it in the comments so I know I'm not alone. Okay, let's back up a minute before we get into this fact about Christian Dior and hats. Has anyone seen, I think it's on Netflix or Amazon Prime? It's this movie called Mrs. Harris Goes to Paris. It's about this widowed cleaning lady who lives in London in the 1950s. And her ultimate dream and goal in life is to buy herself a couture Christian Dior dress. Okay? It is such a lovely movie, and you will be entertained, and you're rooting for her the whole time. You want her to have the dress. She comes from modest means, and you just want her to have this dress, even though it is more expensive than all get out. Even in the 50s, in the 1950s, Christian Dior was very, very expensive for a cleaning lady, okay, for a modest salary. Well, now I don't personally own anything Christian Dior. I have to say that. I do admire his work. I do love his couture dresses and everything. He is truly an artist. Truly, from one artist to another, I respect his work. Well, I don't know if you guys know, but next week I start FIT, Fashion Institute of Technology in New York, because I just need to learn some structure in my hats. Partially self-taught, but self-taught takes you but so far. You either have to mentor under someone or go to school because, yeah, someone needs to let you know, hey, you're doing it right, or you could do it better, or maybe you're not, you can cut out this, and this is a shortcut, and this is how you do this. So I need to be with other hatters. I need to be to network, and I need to just, okay. Now, I said I want books. I don't want to just scroll on the internet. I want to manually flip through pages, and I just want to absorb the hat life, right? Well, I'm on Amazon, and lo and behold, I see this book, okay, that pops up. Dior hats. Do you see it there? Dior hats. And I was like, Dior hats? When you think of Christian Dior, do y'all think of hats? I don't. So I got the book, hard copy, okay? And once I started reading it, this is what I didn't know about Christian Dior. He was a hatter, a hat designer, and a millinery, and that's basically a hat designer who designs hats for women, before he was a dress couture designer. Hats were first for him. It says in the book that his mother was always behatted. That's how it was written. I'm not trying to be fancy. And when I read it, I love it. She was always behatted. And that was his inspiration. And how many designers are inspired by their moms or their grandmoms or their aunties or whatever, the women in their family who display fashion sense. So he started making hats, and then it said he would then he started designing couture dresses based off of the inspiration from the hats. Okay, this is why this is so important to me, because I'm about to go to school to learn hat designing and structure and so forth. And I questioned it. I was like, is this going to be a waste of time? Am I doing the right thing, right? Yeah. Yeah. And can I tell you, and I'm going to get into some of the pictures. I'm going to go over like maybe 6 photos of these fabulous Christian Dior hats that I loved in this book. And I'll show you one that gave me chills, one hat that gave me chills, and one that's my favorite out of the 6. But can I tell you, I have also received negative feedback about doing hats. Not from my people, family and friends. They're all supportive. But from other hat designers. Now, I don't know if these hat designers have been doing it too long and they're a little jaded, but there was one male hat designer who said, you got to be crazy to want to make hats. And I was like, I mean, I might be a little crazy, but what's crazy about making hats? And I'm like, really? Am I crazy for making hats? It just made me question my decision. And I would love to know why he said that, because he didn't expand on it. It was just a general term, right? Well, another hat millinery, a British woman, she said, oh, it's so expensive. This is such an expensive profession to get into. Well, of course, if you don't have a lot of money to start off with, you're like, okay, am I going to be in over my head? But then I learned that a lot of the hat blocks, and she was particularly talking about hat blocks. A lot of the hat blocks, yes, you have specific hat blocks for different hat shapes, but you have a general hat block that you use to mold your felt or your straw or your cinemae. And then once you remove it from the hat block, you sculpt it into the shape you desire. So guess what? You don't necessarily need a hat block for every type of hat design. You can have a general basic hat block, and then once it's molded, and then you can continue to design it with your hands and sculpt. Hello? Always wanted to take up clay pottery work. Well, I'm going to be a clay potter, but with different fabrics, with felt, with straw, with cinemae, So that's going to cut out some costs. So I'm learning how to cut out some costs. People, don't let anyone discourage you or talk you out of something you feel the fire for, a desire for, a passion for. I did see, it was an artist who said, once you start on your way, you will find a way. Something as simple as that, So I'm like, okay, I may not have all the coins I need, but gradually, little by little, we're going to build this. Rome wasn't built in a day, they say, right? So it's okay. We're going to start off, and I got 2 blocked hats. I Googled, I said, what are the most common hat sizes for women and men? They said size 57 centimeter and 59 centimeter. We're starting off with the most common sizes. We'll work on the other sizes later. We'll work on the other heights later. We'll get there. So let's get into Christian Dior and some hats, okay? All right, back to the inspiration of it all. Dior hats, guys. Okay. So, and this book is curated by Stephen, from Christian Dior to Stephen Jones. He's a millinery as well. So this says Dior before Dior. Okay, look at that hat. And he also did men's hats as well. We have a man's hat. Can you see that there? There's so many hats. I'm not even touching the surface by showing you these hats, but you know, he gets into large, medium, small, mainly women's hats, fitted, loose. I mean, you name it. And you can tell now that I'm getting into hats and material, you can tell that that felt is fur felt. Because it almost looks like velvet. You know what I mean? Leather. Don't kill me, vegans. And what you don't see, okay, it's a hat hood. It's attached to the jacket. Okay? It's attached to the jacket and it's asymmetrical. Woo! Fire. That is fire. Your traditional type fascinator with veil. Classic. Very classic. It reminds me of an Audrey Hepburn type of look. Now, this, for some reason, when I saw it, I said, at some point, I'm going to have to replicate this hat, but my style, my version of it. I won't do it exactly, but this is my favorite hat. I just like the way it doesn't typically look like a hat. I like how it's open. I like it. It's almost like she has on a head glove of some sort. I was drawn to it, and I'm mesmerized by it. When I saw it, I was just like, if I had to wear any of these hats, that's the hat I would wear. I have to look up and see if I can find out where that hat is. This one gave me chills. This veil. You know why? Because I made one similar to it, similar shape, asymmetrical shape with that point at the top and the angle towards the bottom. If you look on my YouTube page, I think it's the Face Fascinator. I did that before I even picked up this Dior book. When I saw this, I got chills. I said, I have a Dior mind. I have a Dior fashion sense. Oh my God, I'm meant to do this. I was like, what? And I guess when you play with shapes all day long, you know, don't worry, it's not an earthquake tremor. It's me touching the table that the camera's connected to. That's why the camera's shaking a little bit. I apologize. You know, when you play with shapes and work with them, how to make them different and fun and funky and so forth, I guess you just run into some of the same type of you know, methods of coming up to your design one way or another, you know, because honestly, there's no new design out there. You might tweak it a little bit to make it a little different, but the basis really stays the same to a degree. So what I have learned about Dior has given me so much life, and I'm just happy I'm on the right path. So please share whatever path you're on, whatever journey you're on, discovery, in terms of artistry. Is there something that you're working on? Is there something that you want to be? Please share it. I'd love to hear your inspirations. Let's inspire each other as we go through this wonderful journey of life. All right, please like, share, and subscribe. I'll see you next week. Just a preview of next week. I'm going to be using this dye for natural materials. I'm going to be dyeing a Cinema Fascinator because I couldn't find it in the green that I wanted. So we're gonna dye it, and then when I got it, I was like, oh, I'm just gonna dilute this powder and put my cinnamon in there. No, they want me to pre-wash my cinnamon. They want me to soak this for 24 hours, let it dry. So, and I have to use soda ash and salt. So I'm like, oh goodness, I gotta get more products. But those other products only cost me about, I don't know, less than $10, and this cost me maybe 4. So we're only in the $14-15 range to dye this fascinator. So join me next week as we start to dye some cinnamon material. It should be fun. All right, guys, until next week, have fun. Bye.